Do you know that there's nothing more stressful as a homeowner than dealing with contractors? That's why today I'm going to share with you my simple 6-step process to help you find the right one who's going to finish the job on time, and you're actually going to be happy with the end results. So let's talk about it. Here's the truth. Most contractor horror stories don't start during the job. They start way earlier, like before you even make that first call. Because every contractor is mentally sorting you into one of two piles. It's either worth my time or lose my number, guy. And if your request for what needs to be done sounds like, well, we're thinking about redoing the bathroom maybe, you're instantly going into the second pile faster than a leftover sandwich in your kid's backpack. So here's how you come correct from the very beginning. First off, you need to know what you want done. So bring photos and examples of what you're actually looking to accomplish. Make a list of what's getting demoed or built and what's staying. And be very clear on what decisions are made and where you need guidance. I am not saying that you need a full-blown architectural plan. You just need to have a plan that doesn't sound like, oh, can you help me figure this out for free? Because the more specific you are, the faster the good contractors are going to say yes, and the faster the bad ones are going to take themselves out of the running. And I'll be honest, I made this mistake myself, and I've seen my clients make it too. I'd reach out before I really knew what I wanted and just end up spinning my wheels and burning time and mental energy, and I just got nowhere with it. But that's just step one. Next is a mistake that almost every homeowner makes once they start the process. Here's where most homeowners just get it wrong. They get one quote, maybe two. They're like, well, this guy seems nice. And the other one's like, I'm pretty sure I can squeeze you in. And to you, the prices sound fine, but you're busy. So you just pick one and you're hoping for the best. That's how the contractor horror stories begin. If you stop at one or two quotes, you're flying blind. You have absolutely no baseline, no red flags to look at, and no clue what's missing or what's about to cost you thousands in surprises. And real talk, as a homeowner and a real estate expert, I've seen this pattern like hundreds of times. And the fix is simple. You get 3 quotes, always, not 10, not 20, just 3 real professionals who have seen the job, they understand the scope of work, the plan, and they put it in writing. But here's why that matters. I recently had work done at one of my rental properties, and I got 3 quotes, and every single one of them came in around $2,500. And I was hoping that it was going to be around $2,000, but the pattern was clear. That was the going rate for what I needed done. And no one was ripping me off. It was the actual cost, and that is the power of 3. But here is the big twist. The best bid isn't always the cheapest. So once the patterns are clear, do not make a move yet, because the next step trips a lot of people up. Hey, if you want all 6 steps of my guide laid out, plus the exact questions to ask, the red flags to look for, and my personal checklist, just download this Smart Homeowner's Guide to Hiring Contractors. The link is in the description below. So this next part, again, is where a lot of homeowners mess up. They get a quote. The contractor they talk to sounds very confident. And instead of vetting them, they just cross their fingers. But you're not here to hope, right? You're here to make a plan. You're here to hire someone who's actually going to finish the stinking job without disappearing mid-demo. That starts with a few key questions that make the real professionals lean in and the pretenders start panicking. Again, I've got the full list in my Smart Homeowners Guide, but here are 5 that I absolutely never skip. Number 1, will you actually be doing the work, or are you subcontracting it out? Number 2, what's a solid estimate of your real timeline from start to finish? Number 3, do you provide a written plan with clear milestones? Number 4, how do you handle changes or delays? And number 5, can I talk to a recent client with a similar project? Look, I'm telling you, every single time I run through this list, it tells me everything that I need to know. But here's the part that most homeowners miss. The conversation isn't the finish line. It's just the test, because even the right answers mean nothing if you don't really nail this next part. So let's say that you have your top pick and their quote looks great. Their answers have checked out and you're thinking, finally, I found the right person. But then it starts. The slow replies, a missed follow-up, the promised email that actually never shows up. And it's not like a deal breaker yet, but it's not nothing, right? You have to consider this, because the moment that this happens, that's the big mistake. And look, I've been there. A few years ago, I had a contractor who seemed like the dream hire, right? He had great prices, solid referrals, clean website, literally everything that I wanted checked out. He walked the job with me, talked about the plan of action, and we shook hands. He said I'd have the final quote by the end of the day. And literally 4 days later, I still had nothing. And then I followed up. He apologized. It was like, oh man, I'm sorry. I had a busy week. He eventually sent it. But you know what else was busy? The entire project, right? The communication was slow. The decisions dragged out. And at the end, so did the finish work. All the warning signs were there, but I didn't set the standard up front, and that's on me. But here's what you are going to do. Before you sign anything, be very clear. Let them know how you expect them to communicate, what method, how often, and when. The good ones are going to say, got it. And the sketchy ones, they're going to get defensive and try and dodge all the answers and disappear entirely. And that's what you want. Look, this is your house. It's your money and it's your project. And the moment you stop leading, it shows. This next step though, that's where you take the reins for real. This is the moment that separates the hopefuls from the homeowners who actually sleep at night during a renovation. Because here's what I've seen over and over again. The quote sounds great. The crews start showing up, and then suddenly things start like shifting a little bit, right? Timelines, they start to get fuzzy, and the materials, they weren't included. And the payments get odd too. And when you ask for clarity, they pull out oh yeah, we'll just figure it out. You know that. That's just not bad luck. It's what happens when nothing is on paper. This is where smart homeowners protect themselves without sounding paranoid. And look, you don't need a lawyer. You don't need this giant binder with 40 pages, but you do need to set crystal clear expectations. And that means this, a written plan of action. You know exactly what's included and exactly what's not. You have a clear payment schedule tied to actual progress and not future dates. You have language for how changes get handled, because trust me, there will be changes. Here's the deal. One line in the contract can make all of the difference too, and I have seen this a lot. Instead of saying drywall should be done in 2 weeks, you want it to say payment number 2 is due upon completion of drywall installation and inspection. That line is a massive lifesaver, because you are not paying until the work is completed. And once that contract is signed, most homeowners think that they're in the clear. But what happens next? That's where the real risk starts. So now the contract is signed and the work begins. Most homeowners at this point disappear. They're like, well, it's all in writing. I don't need to worry now. That's the big mistake, because even with a clean contract, things change all of the time. Timelines are going to slip. Materials are going to be swapped, and details will get missed. And if you're not paying attention, you're not going to catch the problem until it's baked into your walls. And you don't need to hover over everything either. You just need to stay in the loop. Here's how smart homeowners stay in control of the project instead of the project controlling them. You're going to check in regularly, not just when something goes wrong. You're also going to match what's happening to what was agreed upon. And you're going to speak up early, even if it feels off and it feels uncomfortable. Because it's not about micromanaging, it's about protecting your investment while there's still time to fix things. The good contractors don't mind. I've worked with great contractors and they don't mind this at all. They actually respect it because you're not being a pain, you're being a partner, and that's what they want. And if you're hiring out work, make sure that your home isn't hiding surprises. Watch this video next. It's about the 7 hidden home threats that you need to fix ASAP.